again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, miss you, we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, the money, waste my must have anti-statue. Say me like a cashew, but bigger than a figure you. Take the skin from money, girl, and say that it's not you. On the head, the man above end up, him a got a bet. Too much eating at the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. My singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% raise.
It burn me.
Garbage pile of the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption peace.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in our fever. Member bowl money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start and thief when them sell.
It burn me.
Or they treat the market man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
Or they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the son man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat policeman.
It burn me.
Or them a treat soldier man.
It burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't.
Global TV send another one. Oh, 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 oh. Global TV, I send them home. Yeah, man, this is Michael Buckley. I tell you, say, yo, the Global TV, yeah, man, me represent that 100%. Play the music, Global. Boom, shot.
Boom! I mean, I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. There. So I say, you know the code, you know, Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on 90 days. So I say, yeah, man, to the fullest. Yeah, man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch, you know, film a plan up and I try to put them on it and we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I throw the bank, I like the break, but we ain't all about the bread. We open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen on the bed. Them one with a fall, we live in bandage, I must say true, we make this them. We in Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who Jaja bless, no man can curse. Give it the Range Rover, who drive years. Boom! We in Global TV, to the fullest one cup of excellence, see me?
Can you hear anything now? Can you check? Nothing, still not coming through. I don't know what is going on. Oh, I think they can hear me now. Okay, thank you all very much. Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Good evening, good evening. Sorry about the mess just now. Let me start again by saying good evening and sorry, very sorry to be late. If Rochelle Otem is here this evening, can you raise your hand, please? I wish to offer you an apology. Good evening to those on TikTok, to those on Twitch, to those on the X, those on Facebook, and of course on YouTube. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. This evening, we are here and we want to ask the People's National Party some questions. Do you know anything? Are you hiding anything? Is there anything more to Councillor Marlene's death other than what we know in public? But if Rochelle Otem is here this evening, I want to apologize to you. Last night in my swing, I unwittingly went off on you without recognizing that you're an ardent globalist. However, there was corrections in the chat, but I did not manage to see it until after the live. So please, Rochelle Otem, accept my apology. Why am I late this evening? I am late because for the last 2 weeks, I have not had any cycling because I was in the West Midlands yet. We are back in our London studio this night because I was away in the West Midlands. Top with that, I wasn't feeling well. So I didn't get to do my usual activity for 2 weeks, which, if you know me, I'm a person that cycles my way around London. So nobody come lay with me a bush now because one of me just find something or someone jump out pan. So today I went on a very long cycle and I came home after that, cooked, ate, was darn tired, and went off to bed. And Bob's your uncle, I couldn't wake up. But better late than never. Thank you all very much for being here. We're still on the issue of Melissa Silvera and everything else that is happening in the People's National Party. Because how dare they think that there is a possibility that we may walk away from the cover-up, from the murder cover-up of Melissa Silvera. They may possibly be thinking that at some point we're going to walk away from the cover-up of the killing of Melissa Silvera. But before I waddle into the Melissa Silvera and the Marlene issue, sorry, I want to address something that I didn't get the chance to address last night. And it's the behavior we saw on social media of a mob of those from the animal farm. And oftentimes you hear I speak about those women from the animal farm, those women who give ardent support to over the animal farm. The women who never see what is wrong with what they are doing. The women who never see what is wrong with what they're supporting. These are the type of women, the women from over the animal farm. These are the type of women without any logic, any self-control. These are the type of women, the women you see from over the animal farm, are the type of woman would carry out this type of mob gang mentality. These are the type of women that are on the animal farm that would carry out these type of brutality on our children. A 50-year-old grayback, silverback gorilla in pink. I we've never seen silverback in pink before. This big gray silverback in pink. Go in our kitchen and go take up a big old spoon and just come out and chop pepper picking at them heads so. Over something what we turn out to know have nothing to do with the little girl where them are attack. It turned out that it's a love triangle war that doesn't have anything to do with this young lady. Is it possible that a broke pocket man them a fight over? Because those type of women in Jamaica don't fight over good man. And half the time woman fight over man, a broke pocket man them fight over, and a man will go walk. Half the time you see them a fight over man, and them man will sit down on street corner when not go nowhere, when not do nothing. "52-year-old, a tough grayback grandmother." Because with fair careless behavior, she had breed long time, so she would have all great grand. The toughness of she and the daftness of she would have to breed long time. So she would have a whole thing of Gary Pat. She would have a whole thing of Gary Pat behind her. Because that type of mentality, 52-year-old can mob attack a 14-year-old. Then she a breed long time and have a whole thing a carry bungle to teach parenting to. Do you see the danger of our society? Do you see the danger of our society when a 52-year-old grayback chimp can attack a 14-year-old, a mother, a grandmother? Because all if she are barren, she ought to be in the mentality of a mother. A 52-year-old grayback chimp attacked and severely abused a 14-year-old. And you want to tell me that behavior like this is not something to be attributed to the women of the animal farm. 52 years old. Can you believe it? Did you? I'm sure you all saw. I'm sure you all saw the behavior. I'm sure you all saw the behavior of about half dozen women. None of those big women, none of those big women saw it necessary to protect a child. But I'm going to speak about justice, but I'm going to add that J word in front of it. So when you hear me say JJ, when you know what justice I'm talking about here. Of course, one always say, let the law take its course. But do you see how crime can grow in our society? Let the law take its course. Sometimes I want to believe that JJ is necessary. Or it is in cases like this where people would go on to move away from the natural process of justice and then sought to apply JJ. I hope you all understand the conversation here. You know how we have to speak to the box. But can you not see here how one would step out of the realm of the process of seeking justice to apply their own JJ? Good night, Dr. Alfred Dawes on TikTok. Is that really you? Thank you for being here. If a people on corner are here, if your name I go call, me not trouble you tonight. But me see pop up say you there. Thank you for being here. It's really appreciated. But it is behavior like this that would provoke JJ, a 52-year-old grayback chimp in pink, a grandmother, even if barren, should be in the mentality to protect. But rather than protect, she went out on a vicious, malicious attack on another woman's child. Do you see how crime can grow rapidly in our society? Do you see how the women from the animal farm, the great chimp in pink from the animal farm, do you see how such a mentality condone and escalate crime and breed crime in our society? The mentality of those women we see in that mob attack and that 14-year-old, no doubt, are Trenton students. They have to be Trenton students. Because if they were students of Global TV or other of us on here, they would use the parental or the mother approach. The approach of a mother. They were walking on the approach of what a mother approach should be. Even if two young girls were tearing themselves apart on the street, it is the duty of mothers, women, parents, fathers to go and separate them. But rather a bunch of lowlives, a bunch of have nothing to do ghetto kettles, a bunch of have nothing to do ghetto kettles run out and act like mad raging viragos. Now, do you understand when Ross said the women in our society are the crime breeders? The women of our society in Jamaica, the silverback chimps of our society, the ghetto hoodlums of our society is why we have so much. It is why we have so much crime. Because Adenia, Skettle, and Tegerigan Bangaran wash bloody clothes. Adenia, ghetto rats, hide gun under pillar and under bosom and under in a bosom. For bad man. Ademia Mumaya sit down and make sure them spend scammers' money. I wonder if the careless boy where them abuse the woman picking you over. I wonder if that careless boy there a scammer. I wonder if I want to sit down on street corner and rub out him hand nickel. Hmm? You see the danger of the women from the animal farm? Have you seen the danger glaring on social media of the women from the animal farm, the hoodlums, the ghetto rats? Did them a breed from them either them knee? That is the mentality. That is the mentality we saw in this disgraceful mob attack. But while we cannot promote JJ or we don't want to seem to be like them, then what we're hoping in a corrupt country is that the natural justice takes the right course. And as we would have said in a Jamaica, the judge that is hearing the case against them to make sure them foot not touch dot. This was disgraceful. But when you remember and you regularly see the behavior, you regularly see the behavior of the women from Trenton's Corner, then you have to look no further to find out where such a mentality would have been festered. Where such mentality would have been festered. Nowhere else would fester such mentality other than on the animal farm. It was disgraceful. It was disgraceful to see women, mothers, lost their instinct of protection. The most famous thing that we know women have about them. Animal purchased in the jungle, you hoodlums. You ghetto rats. Even the animals of the jungle purchase protection of the young ones. And you hoodlums and ghetto rats, you run out and you behave like some trifling viragoes, some low life, some sit down under cheat chat people all day because they don't have nothing to do. Some never make it at school. Who did sit down at the back of the class with man and whisper in them ears so them come out as international ghetto rat dunce. Look at the mentality. Take your mind from the action for a minute. Take your mind away from the action of what we saw those hoodlums carrying out. Get into the mentality that would allow a mother and grandmother, a 50-year-old, to march out of her yard with a spoon, with others pinning another woman child to the wall. And she was just there battering away at her. One of the animals even stepped in her abdomen on when she was on the ground. Tell me if them something there not something that wants to come from over the animal farm. Tell me if those are not the women we would regularly see on the animal farm. The one-sided kettles. The breed from them either them knees so them never learn nothing in school. There is possibly a generational curse in other family where mother and grandmother was kettle and hoodlum, because it goes back to parenting. It goes back to parenting. We where we mother grow good, none of we where we parent grow good. Now behave like how we see the greyback gorilla in pink and others behave. We now behave so. It goes back to a mentality, a upbringing. Just jump out so. Sorry. It not just jump out so. It is a mentality that has been taught, maintained, and coerced, that a 52-year-old big tongue greyback gorilla, what if go to wrestling? Big old greyback gorilla, what if out there the wrestling and a knocking chest? Look at the behavior. Look at the behavior. Ask yourself, would I, as a mother and a grandmother, get into that mental state where I could look at another woman, 14-year-old, and be repeatedly battering that child over the head with a metal spoon? What mother could stamp her feet in another woman's child abdomen, lying on the floor, being severely abused? You see how JJ is inflamed in our society by the actions of women. Is it fair to argue that crime will never be solved in our society until the women are ready? Are these the type of women that is spending scammer money? Are these the type of women who are washing bloody clothes? Are these the type of women who are hiding weapons under their bed for their murderous sons? Are these women involved in bigger crime than we see they perpetrated on the street of Clarendon? Huh? Do you understand? With such mentality, how difficult it can be to fight crime? Do you understand how difficult it can be to fight crime in our society when some mothers in our society are the ones who are creating, breeding, and protecting crime. Hmm? This big old, this big old a what left. This big old I never learned nothing in school. This big old a breed long time because them type of woman they breed from their that. So she must have a whole string, a Gary pattern and get a rat to teach. And when she turn up on road and cheat another woman, pick me up. What do you expect her carry pats and get a rat to do? Hmm? We have seen the behavior of animals in front of us on that recording. Sorry, on that recording we see going around social media. It was a disgrace. And as we say all time, people say, I hope whichever judge those Gerepats end up in front of, them foot not touch dot. But let me take a break. And when we come back, we will be asking questions to Fitz Bailey regarding the killing and cover up of Melissa Silvera.
Yeah, well, it is I, Bad Bass Alice, representing on behalf of Dancehall, the station of all time, Global TV, Brothers of all time, Alice the rep, yeah, General of all time. Master, when me say you, but the people, them love you bad, fully informative, salute, like they have to live. Yeah, well, it is I, Bad Bass Alice, representing on behalf of Dancehall, the
Yes, welcome back. This is Global TV, and we are here tonight. This time, we're going to ask Fitz Bailey, is current cross statement true? Has the ballistic come back? Does the bullets match found in Melissa Silvera match the gun of Julian Silvera? But somewhere in the last week of December, we saw a Gleaner article where the Liad Fitzdaly is saying a case review into the suspected death of Melissa Silvera is expected to determine, among other things, whether the initial investigating officer, a police sergeant, attended upon the scene by himself. I want to ask Fitz Bailey, at what point will we be getting the result of that review? At what point will you be giving information to the public with regards to the review that you all are carrying out on the officer that visited the Silvera's residence the morning? The sergeant who visited the Silvera's residence, is the sergeant a friend? Is the sergeant a friend of Mr. Silvera? Was the sergeant accompanied by any other officer? Was it a call to the station directly to which the officer is from? Or was it a personal call to the officer's mobile phone? it is rather important. And Rochelle, if you're there, hold up your hand. And anytime I see Rochelle and I make me know, I keep an eye on the comment. Was the station that the sergeant visited from, was it a call to the station, or was it a call directly to the sergeant who attended the crime scene on the morning or on the night of the 10th or the morning of the 11th of November 2023? It is important that we know the process of the communication between Mr. Silvera and the officer. When Mr. Silvera called the officer, what was the information given to the officer? Where did Mr. Silvera said he was when he spoke to the officer? Because if we remember clearly, Mr. Silvera was at home and his wife died next to her. That was the first argument. Then, once the postmortem result revealed that Mrs. Silvera had at least 3 bullets inside her, then the story changed and Mr. Silvera wasn't at home. We saw several publications from Kamala Forbes, The Right Mango, where they were saying, we thought it was aneurysm. Who are the we? Was that we involving the police, Mr. Silvera, or any doctor that may have been called? Any doctor that may have been called to the scene. Dr. Dawes, good night. Are you still over here on TikTok? I hope Julian Silvera did not call you to his residence on the night of the 10th of November or on the morning of the 11th of November. I'm hoping you were not called, Dr. Dawes, to the Silvera's residence. And I'm suggesting the same thing to Dr. Drayton Campbell, that I am hoping, Dr. Drayton Campbell, that if a doctor was called to the scene of the Silvera's residence, the crime scene of the Silvera's residence that morning, I am hoping it wouldn't be Dr. Alfred Dawes, nor would it be Dr. Drayton Campbell. And guys, if there's any truth to that, make sure you correct it as fast as you can, because anyone on will find wanting for the killing and cover-up of Melissa Silvera, we are going to draw you through the mud come local government election. And we will be sending you a signal. We will be sending you a signal to say we will not tolerate those who continue to encourage and protect and cover up crime. So we're still waiting for an answer from Golden as to the relationship with the People's National Party, Julian Silvera, and by extension, the president of the People's National Party, Mark Golden. It is important we keep focus. Why? We remember the other day, Fitz Bailey said, there is no police corruption in the initial police investigation. Is Rochelle here? On Ministerial. There is no police corruption in the initial investigation. If there is no police corruption in the initial police investigation, why would Fitz Bailey be carrying out a case review? Why would Fitz Bailey be carrying out a case review to see, to determine, among other things, if the investigating sergeant who attended the scene followed the proper law enforcement protocols? Why would Fitz Bailey, if Fitz Bailey is saying to us there is no police corruption in the initial investigation, why are you conducting a case review? Has something came to light? Has something came to light that the officer, that the sergeant who visited the Silvera's residence may have unwittingly missed or deliberately missed? What is the purpose for the case review? If there is no police corruption, what's the process for the case review? Is it a delaying tactic to give Silvera more time? Let me ask this burning question. Is Julian Silvera still on the island? Is Julian Silvera still on the island of Jamaica? It's important because everything just quiet and silent. So, is Julian Silvera on the island? Did Mr. Silvera call the police sergeant? This is almost backwards. If Mr. Silvera called a sergeant pretending that his wife died peacefully, why would Mr. Silvera call the family doctor or a doctor? Why would Julian Silvera call a doctor or the family doctor? Stony Hill people have their private doctor. Come on now, we're not dunce. Oh no, in Upper St. Andrew. You all in Upper St. Andrew. You don't use our decrepit and disheveled hospitals. You don't visit our decrepit and disheveled hospitals. You all use your private facilities or up at the Adventist St. Andrew Hospital, Andrews Hospital, or Onaga, Florida, or wherever. Did Julian Silvera call a medical practitioner as well as a police officer? Was it just the police officer only that Julian Silvera called on the night of the 10th of November or on the morning of the 11th of November? Who verified Mrs. Silvera's death on the night of the 10th of November or on the morning of the 11th of November? Who verified Mrs. Silvera's death? Was a doctor called to the Silvera's residence? Was there a doctor called to the Silvera's residence? Could Camilla Wright Mango, could Camilla Forbes tell us, was there a doctor on the scene the morning you got there in hours? Was Dr. Drayton Campbell there? Was Dr. Alfred Dawes there? Who are the we you spoke of that thought it was an aneurysm because it was only minuscule of blood coming from her nostril. Who is the doctor that visited the Silvera's residence? If a doctor was involved, in the pronouncement of Mrs. Silvera's death on the 11th of November, who was that doctor? Is it the family practitioner? Is it a doctor in the People's National Party? Could it be Dr. Harris Chang, for that matter? Could it be the family doctor of Bobby Montague? It is important to know. It is important for us to know how the sergeant was contacted. Was the police station called? Oh, somebody give me one rose over TikTok. Yeah, thank you. Me never get them nice something there yet. Was the police station that the sergeant was stationed at, was it the police station that was called? Was it the mobile phone of the sergeant that the sergeant was contacted by? Was it the sergeant who pronounced Mrs. Silvera's death and authorized the removal of Mrs. Silvera's body from what was then a crime scene? What, Fitzbailey, is the purpose of your case review if there was no police corruption in the initial visit? Sorry, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of the case review? Like and share the live, please, especially those of you on TikTok. Please give us some likes. There are more of you here on TikTok than the likes we're having. We have about 40 of you on TikTok, and we only have 23 likes. No, man, we can't take time so with on a finger. We don't pay for move on a finger, you know. And it's the same for you all on Facebook, on YouTube. You're really not being paid to use your finger. This is free information. And all we're selling the information over here for is a like and a share. We're not beggy peggies over here. Over here, we're not beggy peggies. So we're not going to throw out cash up bank account or whatever. What we're asking for is your general like and share. Get the information out there, because just like when you come out, run out, just like when those from the animal farm can run out to see the bangarang, come, let us probe. Let us probe crime and corruption over here. Let us probe crime and corruption. Just like when you run come for here, me a rub beggy peggy. Come and let's probe corruption together. It is crime and corruption that it is our major problem. Come, let's probe together. So give us some like and share, please. Send us the blessings from your fingers, not from your purse, from your fingers. Like and share the live. So Fitzbailey have a whole puddle of questions to answer in public. Why are you conducting a case review? You said in public that there is no police corruption in the initial investigation. What is your purpose, Fitzbailey, for a case review? How long, Fitzbailey, before we get the result from your case review? How was the sergeant who attended the Silvera's resident contacted? Was it a phone call to the police station, or was it a phone call to the sergeant personal phone himself? And if it was a personal call to the sergeant, what's the friendship? What's the relationship between Mr. Silvera? What is the relationship between Mr. Silvera and the officer who attended the crime scene on the night of the 10th of November or on the morning of the 11th of November? What's the relationship between Mr. Silvera and the officer that visited the Silvera's residence, which was an open, active crime scene that morning? Was there a doctor called to the Silvera's residence? Who pronounced Melissa Silvera dead? Who pronounced Melissa Silvera dead? Was a doctor called? If a doctor was called, was it the family doctor? Was it just a random doctor? Was it a doctor friendly to Julian Silvera? Was it a doctor from the People's National Party? Is it a doctor from the Jamaica Labour Party? Who pronounced Melissa Silvera's death? Who authorized the removal of Melissa Silvera's body from a crime scene? Did the police, the sergeant who attended the Silvera's residence, saw anything that would raise an alarm? Like and share, please. Like and share. Did the police sergeant attending the Silvera's residence see anything that would raise an alarm? Why is Fitzbailey? Why is Fitzbailey carrying out a case review if there was no police corruption? It don't make sense, Fitzbailey. Doesn't make sense. Mark Golden is still silent. Mark Golden and the PNP friends. Mark Golden and the PNP friends are still silent. If we don't have an update in the Silvera issue before the local election, Mark Gold and I will lead a charge against you at the ballot box come local government election. We will not, Mark Jefferson Golden, vote for those who stand against free speech but is silent on the issue of murder, cover-up, and corruption. We will not encourage people to vote for those who will stand against free speech, but is covered up in bed with alleged murderers. We will hold you accountable, Mark Golden, at the ballot box. We will hold Mark Golden and the People's National Party accountable at the ballot box for the cover-up of the killing of Melissa Silvera, who, if there was, who was the doctor who visited the Silvera's residence? Was there a doctor? Can any of the 30 people, can any of the about 30 people who Kamala Forbes spoke about, and she was on the scene within hours? How much people was on the crime scene? Kamala Forbes. Was there a doctor on the crime scene? If not acting in the capacity of a doctor, was there any of the People's National Party like Dr. Drayton Campbell and Dr. Alfred Dawes there the morning? Was there any of the doctors from the People's National Party present at the scene the morning? Who are the around 30 people, Camilla Forbes, that was in the Silvera's residence within hours? From your knowledge, can you tell us, was there a doctor on scene? When you got there, other than the sergeant, was there any other police officers there? You could answer a lot of questions for us. You were there within hours. You were there within hours. So you could help us shed light on a lot of the people who was at the Silvera's residence that morning. You were there. You told us you got there within hours. How much police officer was on scene? Are there any members of the People's National Party? Are there any members of the People's National Party that were on scene the morning? Were there any of the doctors from the People's National Party that was there on that morning? Was there any doctor from the Jamaica Labour Party that was at the Silvera's residence the morning? Who, Camilla Forbes, or the around 30 of us who was there, who, Camilla Forbes, thought, who are the we who thought it was an aneurysm because it was only a tiny speck of blood coming from Mrs. Silvera's nostril? Why is Fitz Bailey conducting a case review if there is no corruption? Don't make sense. Don't make sense. Why is Fitz Bailey conducting a case review if there was no police corruption? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. But we are not going to stay blind. We are not going to stay blind on the issue. We are going to continue to make sure that justice is served in the killing and cover-up of Melissa Silvera. We shouldn't allow the silence to win. We will take a quick break and we will return.
Global TV send another one. Oh, 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 oh. Global TV, I send them home. Yeah, man, this is Michael Buckley. I tell you, say, yo, the Global TV, yeah, man, me represent that 100%. Play the music, Global. Boom shot. Global TV.
Yes, welcome back to Global TV. This is the People's Point of View. We are on our normal programming. Please give us some like and share If you are here for the first time on all our platform, on Twitter, on no, sorry, not Twitter, on the X, on Twitch, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube. If you're here for the first time, please make sure you subscribe or follow. So when we go out, you will always get your notification. Thank you all very much for being here. Continue to subscribe, like, share, follow, and get into the debate in the comments. It is important that we have dialogue. The purpose of the comments is for you globalists to dialogue amongst yourselves. But there's another debt, sorry. There's another debt in the People's National Party, which is handed off to us as a natural death. But I want to ask the People's National Party this evening, yes, in the Gleaner report, it is said that it is a suggestion that the death is natural because she did one PNP meet now, she no feel good and she collapsed. The PNP had a post up on social media, according to the Gleaner, but has since removed the post from social media. Does the People's National Party, does the People's National Party know anything of the death of the council candidate Maxine Salabi as to why the People's National Party would have removed a post that they put on Facebook expressing their profound sadness and shock of the death of Maxine Salabi? Have we not heard such condolences and shock and profound sadness before, but it turned out to be a crime and cover up? I want to ask the question this evening. Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that Maxine Salabi could have been poisoned? It's a question. Dr. Alfred Dawes, good night. A few weeks ago, I asked this question. Is it true, Dr. Alfred Dawes, that you were poisoned a few weeks ago? Was there a successful attempt made on the life of Dr. Alfred Dawes a few weeks ago by poisoning? Will there be a postmortem into the sudden death of Councillor Maxine? Will there be a postmortem in the death of Councillor Maxine? Is there any other information the People's National Party is aware of that we are not aware of as to why the People's National Party would have removed a post from their Facebook page expressing their profound sadness on the loss of the sudden death of Councillor Maxine? Mrs. Silvera's death was said to be a natural one. Mrs. Silvera's death was said to be a natural one. She died in her sleep. As Right Mango said, we thought it was aneurysm. Does the People's National Party know anything of the death of Councillor Maxine that we are not aware of as to why the People's National Party, according to the Gleaner, would have removed a post from their Facebook page expressing their profound sadness for the loss of councillor candidate Councillor Maxine. Was Maxine death a natural death? Could Maxine have been poisoned? It is alleged that Dr. Dawes was poisoned a few weeks ago. An attempt was made on the life of Dr. Dawes. Is poisoning running rampant in the People's National Party? Is the infighting in the People's National Party at the local government level and at the national level over candidate seats? Is there an open warfare over the placement of seats in the People's National Party? Is the People's National Party ready to contest a local government election in the next few weeks? This is the second councillor chosen for that division that is now dead. What is happening in the People's National Party? A recent wave of unsuspected death. What is happening? Who will be now council candidate for Region 6 in Westmoreland? Who will be Paul Nelson? Paul Nelson was the previous council caretaker, if I remember that. And he had an accident and died. Was his accident natural? We heard that dying accident wasn't natural, it was staged. Was Councillor Paul Nelson accident a natural one? Is there a war over the seats in the People's National Party from local to central government? What is happening in the People's National Party? Why would the People's National Party post on their Facebook page expressing their sadness, shock, horror of the death of Councillor Maxine, but later remove the post from public view? Sorry. Has information come to light that this is not possibly a natural death, why they would have removed the post? Or is it being cautious? Because when Mrs. Silvera died, we all went out and said our condolences to Mr. Silvera, which later turned out to be the alleged murderer of his wife. What? Which dopey broke loose in the PNP party? And which dopey broke loose over PNP? You see, Dr. Drayton Campbell, you still like you can ball out. We all know Dr. Drayton Campbell is facing some lawsuits. We heard this stitching, a part of the stitching up between Dr. Nesbitt and Trenton. But Dr. Drayton Campbell is saying his comment are to be seen as fair use. So, as the General Secretary of the People's National Party, we're asking Dr. Campbell, in our defense, though we're not facing defamation, some fair use questions. Do you know anything of the death of Melissa Silvera? Were you called to the scene on that morning, Dr. Campbell, as a professional or a comrade? It is important. We're asking fair use questions, fair comment questions. Were you at the scene of the Silvera's residence on the morning of November 11th? If you were there, Dr. Campbell, were you there in the capacity as a medical doctor, or were you there as a supporting comrade to the Silveras? And if it was Dr. Alfred Dawes or any other doctor, the same question matters. Were you there in a professional capacity or for friendly or camaraderie support? I hope the death of Councillor Maxine don't turn out to be a shock horror murder cover-up. Why has the People's National Party removed from their Facebook page a post sending condolences, their profound sadness for the sudden passing of Councillor Maxine? Melissa Silvera's passing was peaceful and sudden until the autopsy proved otherwise. Melissa Silvera's passing was peaceful, in her sleep until we know otherwise. Is there any information, Mark Golden and the People's National Party, in the death of Councillor Maxine that you all are aware of that we are not aware of? Why has the People's National Party removed from their Facebook page condolences expressing their sadness in the passing of Councillor Maxine? We are going to continue to ask these questions. It is our state, the state called Jamaica. It is our politician, the criminal, corrupt politicians we call the administrators of the state of Jamaica. We must continue to ask the questions. It is our duty to become investigators and journalists if those who we employ at the administrative level of our state to do that and they continuously fail in doing their job, it is our duty to do the work. It is our duty to hold them to account. It is our duty. But if any of you have a view on the issue, you can call in and say it. Otherwise, tonight we will be winding the show down, because even though we were late tonight, but we still run out and ask the important questions. These questions are important to ask. It is our duty to get into crime fighting to aid the solution to the problem. But in no uncertain terms will Mark Golden and his cahoots will be getting away from the questions that we have to ask. It is important, very, very important, that we ask these questions. It is very important that we keep our eye on the ball. We cannot allow our country to be continuously run by criminals, because they told us, all of them were lining up to tell us that Mrs. Silvera died in her sleep. And none of them, since we now know that Mrs. Silvera was murdered in her matrimonial home, they are all gone in silence, refusing to answer questions, even those such as Camilla Forbes, who was unseen within hours, who we are still yet to know if she's been questioned by the police. That's another question for Fitzbailey to answer. How much of the 30 or so people that was there on the morning of the 11th of November have you, Fitzbailey, as the investigating officer, spoke to? Dan King, why me to leave police work alone? You must one of the police where the right or left police. I'm talking to someone on TikTok here. You almost one of the right or left police will only come do your job because you want to start with and hustle with pocket. It is our duty to make sure the policing in our country is done. It is our duty to get rid of the corrupt police practices. Yes, there is that issue also, Dan King. Yes, the Patrick Bailey issue is the same as the Silvera issue. We are not escaping that. Maybe you're new to my audience, but we also deal with that issue as well. The issue of crime and corruption and murder cover-up is not limited to the People's National Party. Several times we have dealt with the issue of Patrick Bailey. We will always be looking at the issue of Patrick Bailey because it speaks loudly, just like the Silvera issue, where a person was brutally murdered in the home of the attorney of Andrew Holness, stabbed and shot. Stabbed and shot. There's no sign of breaking and entry. But to date, To date, Patrick Bailey, the attorney of the Prime Minister, if is being questioned, has not been charged, isn't a suspect of a murder that was committed in his house. It's the same bearing here with the Silvera issue. She gets shot in her house and she dead in her sleep. But we are not being political bias over here, Don King, on the issues. On the issues that we talk about, we do not show political bias. And this is the problem with us as Jamaicans. We always want to argue in our political biases. We always want to cover up and quiet when it comes to our political personalities. I am a Jamaican. I am not a JLP or a PNP. I am a Jamaican. So when I sit down to talk, I talk about the issue of Jamaica. I'm not being politically partisan here. I'm not being partisan on issues that I'm discussing. Just like when we call out Dr. Chang and him gun shipments, him arming of garrison constituencies by disbursing a container of AK-47. Over here, we're not politically biased. But please, we're topicing tonight. We're dealing with deaths in the People's National Party and the handling of those deaths and how the police operate themselves in these type of situations. So if you're one of the golden lackey, if you're one of the lackey of the People's National Party, see the bigger picture as us as Jamaicans rather than political alignment. No political alignment around here. There is no political alignment around here. I see somebody is saying I'm a PNP supporter. I've never been a supporter of the PNP. If anybody knows me well, historically, I've always been a supporter of the Jamaica Labour Party. But under the Andrew Holness regime, I have broken ranks from any support to the Jamaica Labour Party. I am not handing my support to any of the political party, but my support is to Jamaica. Tommy Edwards, no sir, are you careless? So why you come over here just to say that? Or for that matter, why would you bother to stop over here? Why would Tommy Edwards bother to stop over here? No, sir. And them ya nice some pestilent ya. I wonder if Tommy Robinson is one of them big greyback chimp who would go out and attack another woman's child because somebody in that family is sleeping with a careless boy upon the corner where they must sleep with too. What a bangarang. I want to thank you all very much for being here tonight. And if Don King wants to stay on TikTok to have a conversation, when I end my broadcast on YouTube, on Facebook, on the X, and on Twitch, then Don King can join me. Don King could join me on TikTok Live if he has something to say or if he is interested in the issue of our country. Or Don King could tell me, why should I leave policing work alone? I'm sure, Don King, if you know or heard of me, you know that I'm from a legal background in my education. So natural probing, to be probative, is my natural chair to sit in. I want to say thank you very much tonight to those on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and the X. Thank you very much for being here. We look forward to see you tomorrow night. Have a blessed one. Thanks to my moderators. Thanks to those of you who night after night, day after day, continue to give me your support. Thank you very much. And if any of you know Rochelle, send go call Rochelle and tell Rochelle me say, me sorry. But for tonight, we will say to you, we are out. We appreciate your support and we thank you. Good night and see you tomorrow.